Welcome to part two of New Partner Orientation. My name is Alejo Torres with the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago and coordinator for Money Smart Week. In part one, we talked about the history of Money Smart Week, how it got started, what our mission goals are, and some context as to the structure. So if you're interested in learning about that, please make sure that you watch the first video, New Partner Orientation video one. So this slide of the presentation will talk about what you actually have to do to register and what are some of the guidelines and expectations as a partner. First and foremost, you likely have already done this, but if you have not, the first thing you really have to do is register. If you go to moneysmartweekpartners.org, and I mentioned this before, there are actually two websites. moneysmartweek.org is the consumer-facing website, and moneysmartweekpartners.org is the all the tools and resources for partners. But certainly you want to go to moneysmartweekpartners.org, and you can see the red arrow there where it shows you need to click on register. And once you do that, you will get a landing screen that shows you, well, first and foremost, it asks you to review some of the guidelines. So under partner registration there at the bottom, it will ask you to read those, and you have to click that you have read them, and just fill out a simple form. But I guess first and foremost, I just want to give you a sense of, what does it mean to be a partner? There's really kind of three main areas. I mean, there's other ways, but the three main areas that partners participate in Money Smart Week is one of the following. You either provide educational materials or instruction at a class, right? So you are providing the information, again, either in materials or you're actually presenting at a library or facility for Money Smart Week. You are hosting, right, one of these classes. So, for example, libraries, universities, other nonprofits that host these types of educational classes is the other way that you can participate. And finally, just really promote and endorse Money Smart Week as much as you can. And obviously, there are partners that do all three of these or two of these. But whether you're on the provider side of education and some of the information, or on the host facility side, we all ask that you do the last way that you participate, which is to publicize Money Smart Week and leverage whatever resources you can to do that. So those are the three main ways that partners participate. One of the things that you'll have to agree to are the guidelines. So this is a truncated version of the guidelines. So if you registered, there'll be a little bit more verbiage, but just really, briefly here, just want to outline what those responsibilities are. And really the first and foremost, the golden rule for Money Smart Week is that you cannot sell products or services. So that is true for all partners, but especially true for our partners that are in the for-profit side, and have those type of products and services to provide. Now, I'll talk about what you can and can't do in relation to that, but certainly we want to make sure that that is not happening. We don't want to make people feel that they're being sold. We don't want to make people feel uncomfortable in these sessions. We are promoting this as educational, and that this type of activity will not take place. And this also is a good reminder for our host facilities, in that if that is happening, we need to have that reported, or need to address it. So as a facility, host facility, it's up to you, as your responsibility, to make sure that that is not happening when you bring in educators. We want to make them as free and open to the public as possible. We realize that there's going to be private events for employees and professional groups and schools and students, and there is an option when you do register. Then you have the ability to add events, and you have the ability to choose whether they're public or private. And again, the private usually are for students and employees. There will be other videos and webinars that we will have throughout the campaign to show you how to do some of these things. We won't cover that in detail today, but certainly we will have some additional videos or webinars to show you how to add events, etc. We'd like you to promote as much as possible, of course. Again, there will be some, if you're involved with the planning team, there'll be some local marketing and advertising. There will be some national promotion as well, but I would just say that, do not rely on that for your individual events and activities. Make sure that you're doing everything you can to get people to come to those individual classes. We want you to appoint a representative to attend webinars or meetings. Again, this is more for those partners that are in an area where there is a planning team. And as I mentioned in the previous video, I'll show you how to do that here in a second, to identify if you do have a chair or a planning team in your region. But certainly, if you're going to be plugged into those planning teams, or again, the regular communication we're going to send out via from the Chicago Fed, or these type of videos and webinars, we just ask that you point someone to be on top of those and getting that information. And of course, share that information with anyone else in your organization that needs to know or is participating. And then the other is kind of provide oversight to any third-party sponsors or presenters. There might be some organizations that you're partnering with for your Money Smart Week event that are not registered partners that will not have the benefit of going through these type of orientations or full appreciation of the rules and guidelines. So we ask that you kind of share that with anyone else that you bring in to help with Money Smart Week. So that you can partner with organizations that are not registered partners, but we encourage you to have them register if possible. So if you agree to all that, then again, you just click that you do, and you have a very simple registration form. This is really not meant to be readable here, but just to give you a sense, it is a very short form where we'll ask you to fill out some of your contact information and self-identify your organization type, etc. So some of the more common FAQs we get about sales pitches or what you can and can't do or say. So certainly we want you to have materials available for attendees. If you have information about just in general education about financial products and services, that's fine. Just that they're not specific to your products and services. You can have business cards available. We just ask that you don't hand them out. Your presentation slides can have your company logo. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then kind of in the don'ts, again, you can have some of these materials out there that are educational in nature, but, we just don't ask that you hand them out. And that goes for business cards as well. And we also ask that you don't have a sign-up sheet or collect consumer information. We certainly, for our in participating in Money Smart Week in our partner kit, there is a survey that we ask you to hand out. There is a sign-up sheet if they want to register for our Money Smart Week listserv. But certainly we ask that you don't hand out any additional paperwork or ask for that information. And it may be well-intentioned, but certainly we don't want folks those emails to get into any in the mix of those kind of sales type promotional emails that they tend to land. So those are some of the do's and don'ts. As far as the tools and resources, so again, moneysmartweekpartners.org is where you want to go. Under the partner tab, there is a whole variety of different resources at your disposal. You have logos, you have promotion materials that you can download and print on your own. There are some best practices we have. They're a little outdated. Well, not outdated, but they're a little old. We haven't put some new ones up there recently, but there's certainly some good best practices up there. Some of our national type of events or programs like GeoCash for College Cash, if we have those type of national type of programs that you can plug into or implement locally, though that information will be there. And then find the chairperson. So you can see towards the bottom there, right above logos, is find the chairperson. So once you register, you should be getting an email from your chairperson if you have one. And we asked all of our chair people to pull new lists every time they email their local constituents, so that any new registrants get on that email list. However, if you're not getting emails or you just want to make sure that that's happening, there is a Find a Chairperson tab here, and you can see all the different planning teams around the country. They're listed by state, and then within the state, whether it's by county or city, all of those are listed, and you can see if there's one close to you. Their contact information is there as well, so you feel free to reach out and let them know that you've registered. And if you have any questions on the local level, please make sure that you follow up with your local chairperson. Logos and promo materials, as I mentioned, so if you click on that tab, you will get every state has a logo. Some cities like Chicago, just because it's a large campaign, have a logo, but certainly you can use these for any kind of promotional purposes. Put it on your website, social media, any kind of flyers or collateral you produce to promote your events. The other thing that is available under your partner tools is your partner kit, and that has just been put up on the website. So please go to moneysmartweekpartners.org and look at it. This really provides all of the background history, timelines, tools, resources, all aggregate into one document. It's a rather large document. There is a lot of pages to it, but I really highly recommend that you look through it and at least know what's there, so that during the campaign, if you have any questions or anything comes up around, a certain area of the campaign, you know that the information's in that kit. There's again, some of the background, some of the timelines in terms of when you should be promoting your events, when you should be getting them onto the website, some tools and best practices, which I'm highlighting a few of those here, but certainly there's more of that in the kit. Some of the marketing materials, how you can, leverage those, partner resource or presenter resources. So that's, your surveys, your checklist for your presenters, and we'll have again, there will be more webinars that we're going to announce and videos like this that we're going to record for you so that you have that information, but certainly it's also in your kit. But as we get closer to the campaign, we will have announcements about new webinars so that you can see some of those materials in more detail. So again, the partner kit is really where you want to go for your first line of questions. Most of the information is going to be listed in the partner kit. We do have some videos up now about how to register. Again, we will have some webinars around this, but certainly if you'd like to get some idea how to register, there's also some additional videos like best practices, etc. But we're going to be adding more videos like the one we're recording now and others in the future. But again, there will also be the live webinar option as well. So look out for the emails that we send out to all registered partners announcing those webinars. Facebook, please like us on Facebook. So we are Money Smart Week National. There are lots of other Money Smart Week pages out there that are local or statewide based, and we ask that all those pages like us and share our content and vice versa. But certainly if you want to get to the national page, please make sure that you like us and you share us and you encourage your constituents, family, friends to like us as well. We try to put out as much information as possible throughout the year about new happenings, new learnings in financial education, new resources for consumers, and of course during the campaign promoted pretty heavily. One other thing I want to cover just really quickly here is that for new partners, you don't know this, but we never really had a strategic plan before now, and so we have for the past year been putting together a SWOT analysis and strategic plan. And just want to give you some highlights. It's a 3 to 4 year rollout. The whole purpose is to sustain Money Smart Week because we are starting to grow beyond our resources. We never expected to be a national campaign, as I mentioned in the previous video. So our growth has been very organic and very ad hoc, and we've been trying to just keep up with the growth. But we felt it was time, especially as we start pushing up against our capacity with resources, that we really had to think through how we're going to survive this growth with the same amount of resources. So some of the highlights of that is that we're going to implement a two-tiered structure with our national champions. So in our previous video, we talked about some of our national partners, which we are now calling champions, and really try to lean on them more heavily to promote Money Smart Week and coordinate Money Smart Week at the national level through those organizations. An example would be the American Library Association. But certainly these champions we're going to look to incorporate more over the years to come, so that these national groups are pushing from the top down and doing some of the coordinating that we used to do to get those members or facilities or educators involved with the national campaign. There's going to be a reallocation of resources, which is happening as soon as this year's campaign in 2016, where we are moving away from print in a big way. And again, for new partners, this really is not impacting you so much, but certainly for some of the partners that have participated, had the luxury of some of our resources going to print and shipping, which we provide for free. However, that is being shifted onto the partners just because, again, several factors, but mostly just the cost of continuing to print and ship is becoming more than we can handle. And so we will have an online store in which we will set up a way for you to order those materials. Or, as I mentioned already, you can download them for free. We do have the files so that you can download and get that, those materials and print on your own. but certainly there will be an online store through a vendor, an outside vendor that will provide those materials at cost, and that is in development. So when we have it ready, we will let you know. We're going to move a lot of our resources to the online experience for consumers and partners. We're going to completely redo our website and our database. So I know I just talked about where our information is and how to register and all that. It's going to look very similar. It's just it might have a different look to it, but in terms of the content will be the same. And once we do that, we will obviously share some highlights or information, maybe do a video or a webinar to talk about the new website and where you can find the resources. The content will largely be the same. Again, it just can have a different look to it. And the same goes for the database. The database will be a new database, but so please do register at the database that we currently have, so that when we open up the new one, all we do is we migrate that data over to the new one, and you do not have to re-register. We're also going to invest in promotion through social media, technology, so that we can use other delivery mechanisms for programming. Other app-based tools that we can roll out some information and education through. Planning team incubator program. In the previous video, I talked about planning teams, where they are and how they plug into the overall campaign. We're looking to see if we can redirect some resources to really get some of those new ones started and off the ground for a couple years, and even incorporate a mentor city or campaign that can help them through that. And develop a plan for national sponsors. We don't really have that now. We have some sponsors at the local level, but none that are on the national level. And so there's a plan for that as well. And just keep in mind that this is a 3 to 4 year rollout, so some of the stuff has not been developed yet. But also we're going to talk about our role as a content provider, whether or not we provide a library of resources that partners can use and during the events and at their local activities. So still in development, as I mentioned, the online store, the National Champion Kit. We are putting together a kit for our national partners so that can help them implement Money Smart Week more effectively and across the organization. So that is in the works and should be ready for our national partners here in the next, by the end of October, early November. And the database switch to 2016, we will let you know as soon as that is ready. So we are, again, in the works of redoing the website and the database. When it is ready, we will let you know. We will have some national program activity packages like the GeoCash for College Cash program, which I mentioned a little earlier. We'll be adding, we'll likely be doing that again for 2016. And there's some information about that on our website about what it is and how you can implement it locally. And of course, if we have any additional activities that we want to add nationally, we will add them on the website. We will have a webinar series that we will announce shortly that will talk about some of the other webinars we'll have, like best practices, how to register, how to get events into the system, etc. And of course, if we have the new website and database, some training around that. New webinar software that we're going to be introducing that we can use to deliver some of that. Some of these partner media, this is longer than a minute, of course, but we will have some snippet videos for some regular updates that will be shared with all partners. Again, I already talked about the website refresh, and I may have mentioned already Charlotte, North Carolina. I think I mentioned that in the last video. But Charlotte, North Carolina is our newest campaign to come on board. So if you are from the North Carolina area, please look to the chair section of the website so you can see where reach out to your local chair, or of course reach out to us and let us know so we can put you in contact with that chairperson. Other information to look at, the partner kits and online materials, all those videos are up now. When you look at how you're going to receive information throughout the campaign, so it's online. It's also some at least quarterly emails as we get closer to the campaign that likely will pick up a little bit, but just some regular announcements and updates to the campaign. The webinar series, don't miss those. As a new partner, I think it's critical for you to engage in these type of videos and webinars so you can get a full sense of how all the different campaign components and how they work. Again, reach out to your local chairs if you have one. Not every partner will have one, but please look up to see if you do. National partners, right? So if you're part of these other national groups I mentioned in video 1, like ALA, Cooperative Extension, etc. At Financial Planners Association, there's some resources and information that they're providing at the national level as well. So they're another resource for you. And of course, if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to us at money.smart@chi.frb.org. So then with that, that concludes the second portion of our new partner orientation. And look out again for more announcements for webinars and videos to help you with your Money Smart Week experience.